Good afternoon again, everybody. Just gonna take a look at the storms as they come through now. It's about 4:15 here on a Saturday afternoon. We don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings, but the storms are getting a little bit stronger. So I thought I'd give you guys an update as to what's going on right now. We'll let a few more get on here, and then we'll talk a lot more in depth about it. But basically, what we're seeing is a line of thunderstorms getting stronger. The strongest storms are actually just moved through my neighborhood here. The winds are stronger right behind the rain overall. All right, we got some people. Aaron, yeah, how's it going? Hello again, Aaron. So we'll get this going because I know some of you are going to be watching this after the live broadcast, just as an update. But as I mentioned, the storm just moved through my location out here. Let me take that off of there. Out here in Harvest, I'm about right in here. And the worst of that storm is up here just to the west of Hazel Green. So might see some pea-sized hail out of that as it's intensifying a little bit. Let me go ahead and take this full screen for you. Again, thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out. Overall, take a look at the velocity in here. I'd say our winds are increasing just a little bit. We've got winds right here, pixel query, about maybe 50 miles per hour. But again, this is getting closer to the radar site, so we're looking close to 45. I think I had a wind gust maybe about 38 miles an hour here. Whoops. Let me get you the right spot. That's what I wanted to show you. Again, about 45, I'd say at most 50 miles an hour in here. But the area I want to watch is right in here. Let's take a look at the reflectivity. Yeah, that's not that bad. So again, overall, I don't see anything twisting in this. Again, the Storm Prediction Center put out a mesoscale discussion for us. And it basically talked about, it still mentioned a tornado threat, but said the chance of a tornado watch is like 20%, so very, very low. But let me get that discussion. So let me switch over here to another computer. This is going to be the discussion from the Storm Prediction Center. Basically, this is pretty vague here. It says one or two developing storms may pose a risk for producing tornadoes through early evening. So this kind of leaves us in la-la land, so to speak. They're not going to put out a watch, and we'll go through some of this data here, and I'll show you why they would say such a thing. I think the wind shear, I think they're still looking at any new development ahead of the line, and I don't really see a whole lot of indication that we're going to see that. So let's go back over here and get the forecast tools up again. So we'll look and see how things have changed throughout the day. Area low pressure is up here north of Nashville now, that 1,006 millibars. So it's fairly, it would be enough if it was, say, March for a better chance of severe weather. And if we hadn't had that big round of thunderstorms this overnight, or I should say heavy rain overnight, we'd probably be looking at a higher threat for severe weather. But here's this area circled in red. This is northeast Alabama. Basically, from I-65 east, where the line of storms is, there's about 500 joules per kilogram, which is borderline for a severe thunderstorm. And I mentioned this earlier, this 200 over here, this is into Georgia. So this is the helicity, the storm relative helicity. That's going to be the spin in the atmosphere. And it's, you get above 150 or so, and then you start seeing that chance, better rotation in thunderstorms, but it's outpacing the line of thunderstorms. So I think we're just mainly looking at wind here. So precipitable water, and we're kind of on the edge of that too. So it's what's happening basically is the line of storms is coming in, and then turn my light on, and out ahead of it, all the wind shear and all that is staying out. So I think that if you're reading this mesoscale discussion from the Storm Prediction Center, they're referring to individual cells may develop out ahead of this, and I just don't really see a sign that's going to happen. So we don't see any rotation on the radar. I'll go back to the reflectivity here. But I mean, of course, we'll watch these areas, especially when they get separation, like the bottom edge here, like this area. Let me get the pencil again. This area here, just southwest of Hazel Green, we'll watch this. But what I've noticed looking outside at the clouds, the winds in the upper levels are a lot stronger than what we're seeing at the surface. And that's usually going to be the case. Let's see. Questions on here. Watching from Arab. Thanks, Debbie. I can't see. Okay, yeah. I got that. I figured that. I probably need to get my monitor in front of me instead of behind me, but it's kind of a prop in the back. So let's see what we've got in this area over here, just to the west of Meridianville. This is going to be out by the Toyota plant, east of Highway 53. And the thing is, the terrain can kind of enhance some of the wind in these areas too. But there's just storm velocity. There's just not much going on. I think that's probably where the strongest part of this storm is. And we're getting a little bit more lightning out here. Let me go ahead and back this out. And this polygon here, that's a special weather statement, basically. And I'm sure if we'd read it, it would say winds up to 45 miles per hour possible in these areas here as this line moves in. And we may be seeing, you know, it's not a classic wake low, but again, the highest winds that I had here at the house, right about here, just across the Limestone County line out in Harvest, were probably maybe briefly 40 mile an hour. Just enough to blow the trash can lid up. Everybody's got their trash cans out for recycling, but I think ours doesn't get picked up until Monday, so I left mine by the house. So let's go down a little bit farther along this line, and this is what's going to be moving into Huntsville over time, in Gunnersville, is this area down here near Eva. Heavy rain there. And once this moves through, by the way, it's done. I mean, the storms are gone, and then it's going to be quite a bit cooler out there as we go into the evening hours. And it's pretty ragged here. You get Madison, your threat's over with. And it's moved towards Bridge Street, and you may be watching on your phone, trying to get to your car as the heavy rain moves in. There's not a lot of lightning here. And again, the red's just showing some of this very heavy rain. Take a look at velocity again. Well, here's some strong wind here. This is going to be headed towards, let's see, that's probably Valormosa Springs, east of Somerville, Whitesburg Bridge, Hobbs Island, and then Owens Crossroads, Hampton Cove, maybe. So let's see how this, what I'm talking about is this little area right here. That's probably a wind gust of 55 miles per hour may reach the ground. So that could do some isolated damage. So let's just see what's been going on with that over time. It's been fairly consistent. I think that's the same area that was showing up in west of Decatur, actually near Hartselle. And let's do storm relative velocity on that. Reflectivity. And that's kind of behind the line too, so a lot of this is behind the line. But I'll pixel query that for you guys. I get the mouse on the right spot here. So that, again, that's showing about 59 miles an hour, 57, 59, 60. So there's a lot of wind in this, no doubt about it. So here's that special weather statement. Strong thunderstorm will impact southwestern Madison and Morgan counties through 4:30 p.m. and right now the time is 4:24. Wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour. Radar indicated gusty winds could knock down tree limbs and blow around unsecured objects. Locations impacted include South Huntsville, Hartselle, that was earlier. Redstone Arsenal, Priceville, it's already moved through there. Falkville, it's already moved through there. Triana, it's on its way. It's in there now. It's actually on the way out. Again, there's Valormosa Springs, Somerville, it's now east of you, and Eva, this is north of you. So I don't see a huge threat here. But again, this is a fairly large area that has some wind. And Whitesburg Bridge is about right here. and this is moving this way. So let me go ahead and clean this up a little bit for you. I'm gonna zoom out. I know this isn't the normal software that this is radar scope. It's a pretty good tool. Again, this is just the raw radar data. Now the wind's picking back up here along the state line. This is going to be north of Hazel Green, well east of Ardmore. So Ardmore's over here. Here's the state line, and it's up here into southern Lincoln County. So let's take a look at that. That's just started to show up more. So getting a little bit more impressive wind signature there in southern Lincoln County. Let's see what's going on with the reflectivity. It's just kind of bowing out there a little bit. Let's put that into motion again. It's just a big fat area of heavy rain with strong gusty winds. Take my pencil off of there. All right, so they've extended that. They've extended the area of the special weather statement. We kind of thought this would happen. This is why, you know, we didn't outlook much of the shoals in for any real threat of severe weather, because we knew it was going to get a little stronger east of I-65, and that's what it's doing. But there's nothing really too surprising here. Most intense lightning is going to be up here south of Fayetteville. So Fayetteville, you got the storm there now. I think the worst of the weather is probably going to pass near Kelso on the Elk River up there. Scottsboro seeing some heavy rain and gusty winds. That's well out ahead of all of this. But boy, that moved fast. And again, this storm north of Hazel Green really moved quickly. May have a little pea-sized hail in that as well. The Huntsville storm's not that impressive. Let's get an update on the velocity here. Again, don't forget to subscribe. You get all these updates. I usually do a little bit extra here. Some of these get a little bit long sometimes. So coming down the path here, we've got the strong gusty winds moving basically ditto landing. That's the strongest wind gust we're seeing on radar anyway in Huntsville. But we're still watching this area up here. Near south of Fayetteville, and it's going to just be just east of 231. Put that into motion again. So that's starting to kind of spread out a little bit. There was another area north of there as well that kind of faded away, but strong gusty winds with this. Still relative velocity. Yeah, we're going to have to watch that. It's kind of tightening up. We've got broad rotation going on there. See how that's coming together? Let me circle it for you. This is right up here southeast of Fayetteville. Right there. So again, this is broad rotation. And the reflectivity in the same area. It's kind of an odd looking thunderstorm there. It's possible we're just looking at the updraft as well in that thunderstorm. The way it's oriented to the radar. Again, the radar is right. The beam basically is hitting it there. So it's in a good spot to see what's going on in that storm. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. Again, one thing to watch when you're looking at this, again, the lightning's right in the middle of this, so it's most likely that's a strong updraft in that storm there. And this is south of Fayetteville. Let's see, I don't have my map on me. Let me open up a map. I'm going to see what towns are right out there. That's going to be close to Park City. pretty much along Highway 275 there. And there is a New Hope in Tennessee. There's a lot of New Hopes. So it's going to be just west of Flintville up in Tennessee as well. So we got Crystal Springs Church Camp up that way. South Lincoln School is probably just west of that location. This is going to be along, I believe that's called Raby Road. And you got Crossroads General Market. On its way up to Kelso. It's going to be close for Kelso. Kelso's about right here. But again, I'm not tracking a tornado right now, anything like that. This is mainly just strong gusty winds. Oh, thanks, Candace, for that report. She says she's a mile from there, and the wind and rain is insane. Right on the state line. Yeah, there's some, I think there's this little inflow notch ripping across this area here. It's pushing that storm out. So I don't think we're necessarily seeing rotation. I think we're more likely seeing an updraft. So you got to kind of look three-dimensionally at this. You've got this area in green. Not only is the mid-level wind pushing it northeast, but the wind here is going straight up and to the south, and the wind in the red is going straight up and to the north. So let's look at storm relative velocity again. Yeah, it's probably borderline severe thunderstorm here, just due to the wind. Let me switch that off again. So this is going to be southeast of Fayetteville. Let's get the bearings here. Pretty much about 7 miles due southeast of the downtown Fayetteville area. Let's take a look down south. Nothing else really going on except this area here. Let me zoom back in here. Got some weak rotation here. This is going to be pretty much out towards the Huntsville Speedway, south of Green Mountain, and now east of the Parkway in extreme south Huntsville. That's where we have that other area, strong wind here, and that's going to be moving towards Owens Crossroads and Hampton Cove. So that is this area here. Whoop. There we go. Now we get the double box back with the regular screen behind me. Let's see if we got any other reports here. Yeah. Yeah, my Jayhawks didn't do too well today, so I couldn't wear the Jayhawks hat again. So here's our strong gusty wind, and this is eventually going to make it towards Gurley and through the Paint Rock Valley. And one thing that happens sometimes, I'll turn back. One thing that happens sometimes when these storms roll through, let me get that off, take my crayon off, is the storm is forced to rise, so the column of air rises, and when it sinks, it drops, and then you can get this strong gust of wind that comes down because of that, because it's being forced to change. Sun's coming out in North Huntsville. Yeah, behind this, yeah, the sun's out. I got my window open for Shelby. Where'd you go, Shelby? She took off. She's like, Dad, you're not giving me all my attention. Right now, I don't think the storm near Fayetteville is going to produce a tornado. We'll get another look at it. I think there's just a lot of wind going in there. So, again, the fact that it's no longer just concentrated in one area. It's a large area. So there's very strong wind coming through here. And the lightning's really not intense. So if these storms, when they go through a process of tornado genesis, typically you're going to see that kind of pattern, and then you're immediately going to start to see lightning, cloud-to-ground lightning intensify in that area, which means that updraft's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And as I mentioned, a lot of the key ingredients for the shear are east of this line. So this is all influenced by heavy rain pulling down these stronger winds above the ground. So it's basically ducting it down to the ground. And northeast of Hazel Green, some strong gusty winds. But really, nothing's really standing out. There's some isolated areas. This can be expected here within this line, but nothing's really standing out, alarming, saying we've got a developing tornado here. So again, this is all now east of Fayetteville. The sun's coming out behind this line, and the rest of the day is going to be fine. And boy, it gets warm in this room. This is kind of my temporary location. This is pretty much my office in the house. I'm getting ready to go through the process of building a garage in the backyard, and I'm going to have a whole studio set up out there. All right, Poon checking in. Yeah, he's at Timms Ford Lake now. So I'll go in up there towards Timms Ford Lake as well. Get on a little bit closer. So we're kind of at the point in time where this line of storms, as I mentioned, it's going to have some influence from the terrain. So there's going to be changes. And even that part of that storm southeast of Fayetteville is starting to show some weakening a bit as well. But the winds will pick up. I think any discrete supercell or mini supercell kind of would have to happen ahead of this line, and I just don't think we're going to see that today. Let's see the back edge of that. And it still just keeps kind of showing up, but again, if it was showing any other indications, the Weather Service would likely put out a severe thunderstorm warning first if they thought that it may be capable down the road. This is quickly winding down in the city of Huntsville as it's moving east of the Parkway now. But some very heavy rain, South Huntsville. You get the downtown Huntsville. I wouldn't deter any of your plans right now. If you got, I'm going to the hockey game tonight in Huntsville. I'm looking forward to that. And I'm surprised they pulled out a win last night. I had to go back to work, of course, so I couldn't finish watching the game. But they were down 4-1, and then they won 5-1 in overtime. All right, let me check out the rest of the state here and see what's going on down south as our activities kind of ticked up a notch. Down south, not so much. Tuscaloosa, any threat there is over. If you got kids down there in Tuscaloosa, or maybe tuning in from there. Let me switch radar sites. There's Birmingham. Again, it's going to look a little different. See, this is kind of cool, really. This line is just all the way down to the south. Very narrow line. And over here in Auburn, I don't think they have a whole lot to worry about because they still have rain from this morning. Hey, you bet, Justin. Thanks for tuning in. Again, everybody, don't forget to subscribe. That's that information there. Again, I'm doing weather updates. I'm doing more and more of these as we come into the new year. I don't know if it necessarily is a New Year's resolution, but I kind of got away from it for a while because it's really a lot of work to get all this together. But I finally got it where I can just sit down and turn it on, and it works perfectly. I've got a switcher over here. That's what this thing is here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I actually bought that off a friend at a weather conference down at South Padre. So that was pretty cool because I've got all sorts of sources. And so again, when I get my garage built, I'll be able to touch these buttons and have a lot more cameras and a background and all that stuff. But we're just approaching it slowly right now because it takes a lot of effort. And there's still a lot of other videos. Again, I've got so many videos here on YouTube. I was going through them last night and just kind of looking at everything I've done. And the one that I've got one video that I did of our trip to the Bahamas this summer. And I just like to go back over that and just think warmer thoughts because it's been so darn cold lately. And I just don't like to get warm and muggy this time of year because this is what usually happens. You're kind of on the edge of strong to severe thunderstorms and in some cases tornadoes, but I just don't see a tornado threat today, at least anything high end. So let's go back into these storms. I kind of got to give them one more glance over. I've been on here, 25 minutes now, so I don't want to take too much of my Saturday up. Again, it's not all that pressing here. Got to get ready for the hockey game, right? All right, let's go into the velocity. Yeah, this is just pretty much strong gusty winds here with this occasional little area that I think this is, again, I think what you're looking at here, what we're looking at right there is an updraft. So the air is going straight up on that side and straight up in the air on this side. And that's what gives it that signature. And let's see what the radar looks like in that same location. Yeah, that's what's going on. These are multi-cell cluster thunderstorms. So what's happening is you'll get one updraft that goes up, and then that'll fade away, and then another updraft will go up, and it just leads to this prolonged line of thunderstorms, and that's probably going on all along this line. So that's pretty much it. Again, all this is moving to the east. If you're joining here later, this should all be out of the state and on the state line here. It's almost 4:45. So this will be on the state line of Georgia by 6 o'clock, and then it'll be over with. And it's over out here to the west. There's nothing else coming in. We've got nice weather, so that's going to be good. And we've got a warm-up coming up. The only hiccup in the forecast, I think, is going to be Thursday. And let me show you that. Might as well, right? Give you that forecast. So that's kind of today. Let me do a different regional view here. Let's go out south. We'll be in the northern part of this view. Yeah, that wind down there at Ditto's probably gust of 40, and that'll be about it. Again, I'm showing you, this is going to be the GFS model. This is the one that just is finishing up now. Gets colder tomorrow. And then as we go into, actually, here's the next chance of rain. We've got to watch this low on the Gulf Coast. That's next Sunday. That's a week from tomorrow. So again, a lot of people posting a bunch of nonsense as far as the next chance of snow. They're just trying to get more followers and likes and more questions in my inbox. So here's the bigger view. This is the system we're watching for like a Wednesday, Thursday. It's almost like a clipper, but it's actually dropping down through the Great Lakes. So the more and more the model runs, the more it keeps it east of us. So I don't see a whole lot from that. But here's the next other system coming in. This will be probably next weekend, Colorado low maybe, but then it drops southeast. So it's not a typical Colorado low, is textbook anyway. So I think our weather's going to be fairly quiet. A quick look at temperatures. We'll go local here. And we'll do temperatures. Say goodbye to the 60s. This is tomorrow morning around 9 a.m. It's 40 degrees. And then we stay in the 40s. Look at that. It just doesn't change. It is going to be a cold, breezy day tomorrow. Wind chill will be in the 30s. And then Monday's not going to be a picnic either. We start close to freezing, especially out in the shoals, and we warm to near 50. Tuesday, we transition back into the upper 50s. So Tuesday is going to be nice. And then Wednesday, you see that system comes in and cools us off again. So we'll watch Wednesday. Might be a kind of a speed bump there in the warm-up. And Thursday, it's looking a little cooler too. Highs in the 50s. And Friday, we're back close to 60. So Friday may actually turn out to be a nice day. All right, so let me quickly go back over the radar, and then I will let you guys get back to your Saturday. And then Chelsea, I think she's got a newscast coming up. Chelsea Aaron, our weekend meteorologist. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit closer here. So we've got the heavy rain up there. Maybe you're doing a tour of Jack Daniels today. This is going to last about 25 minutes. That's about it. And then it's out of there. Heavy rain, gusty winds. And we're just seeing mainly a Boeing segment here. We don't have any tornado threat there. Into east side of Huntsville, down to Owens Crossroads, Hampton Cove, just strong gusty winds. Notice the flare up down here into Blount County. Let's see where that's going. That may impact areas near Albertville and Boaz over time. So going to switch radars here. I'm going to go to the Birmingham radar, see what it's picking up on that. And it's kind of, again, the farther away you get from the radar, the more challenging it becomes to try to know exactly what the ground truth will be. But that's just heavy rain and gusty winds with that. So again, we'll keep you up to date. I will here anyway. But I don't see anything too concerning out there. And again, if for some reason, something changes here in the next 35, 40 minutes and there's a tornado warning, it's most likely a very low end EF0 kind of thing, and it would only last maybe 5 minutes or so. So I don't see any significant threat here. There's just not a lot of instability out there today. So that's good news. Again, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, everybody. I'll see you later. Whoop, wrong mouse.